Ooika 引き立ての抹茶をアメリカで
Hey everyone, it's Mark from Ooika, and today I am at the tea house here, as you can see by the beautiful wood and shikui walls and the tatami here and a kama, and we're going to learn all about what this is specifically in the month of November, where there are two very important events that happen. Now, the person that I have here is Drew Sodo Hanson.
I'm Drew Hanson, and Sodo is my tea name, which I was granted by the Grand Master of Urasenke in 2010, actually. So I've been using Sodo since then. I've been now at this practice for 28 years, and I'm enjoying my teaching and the demonstrations that we do for the public.
In November, there's a number of events that happen in both the production side of the tea world, but also what I would call the art side of the tea world. One of the events is there's a jar called the chatsubo, which is packed with tea. So after the harvest, the leaves are picked, they're put in the jar, and then they're left to age, just like you'd age a wine or age a scotch. And after that aging process of about 6 months in November, that jar is cut open. And they would cut it open, and there's an entire ceremony that's around the cutting of the mouth of the jar, which is called Kuchikiri, which is mouth cut.
Yes.
So how does the aging of matcha and the cutting of the jar play into what you do here in the tea room? Why is that an important event?
At the beginning of November, the tea room is reorganized for the winter season, which we say begins at the beginning of November. The source of heat, which during the summer season has been as far away from the guests as possible, has moved into the center of the room. And the kettle, the kama that we use, is cast iron. And so as it heats, it radiates. It radiates warmth through the room. And of course, in the days before there was central heating, this was the heat source in the room for the winter. And so the beginning of November, we say, is the beginning of the new tea year, because it is at that time that the tsubo is opened and the new tea is ground for the first time and served for the first time. And so people who are your guests are getting the first taste of the New Year's tea. Because the tea had been picked 6 months ago, steamed and dried and packed away in these large ceramic jars. And so when it is opened, there are typically two types of tea that are in the jar. The jar is basically filled with the tea leaves that are going to be used for usucha, the thin tea. And also in the tsubo, there will be little packets in which the best leaves have been packed. And those are the leaves that will be ground and used for koicha, the thick tea. But they're both in the same jar. The individual bags are taken out, and then the rest of the tea leaves are dumped into a wooden trough. The person who is doing the presentation empties the tea into various containers that are out for display. So the people who are watching see the tea being separated, and then typically after that the jar is closed up again. It's empty now, and a net, a sort of a corded net in that bright vermilion color, is tied in a very special knot over the jar, and it often is then put into the tokonoma as a display item. But then the tea is taken from the tea room into the mizuya, into the preparation room. Typically after that, a light meal is served to the guests. And while the guests are eating, they hear the leaves being ground. I mean, that's the way, it was done typically, in the old days.
Yeah.
So you hear the sound of that stone mill grinding the tea that you are going to taste.
So in the Tea New Year, they would be having not just first opening of the aged tea, but they'd also be grinding it fresh and tasting it immediately after milling.
Yes.
It takes a lot of time and effort to produce a very small amount of matcha, especially with a hand mill.
大イカだよ
So I saw you do a tamai where you prepared some matcha and you used the kama, the kettle that is in the middle of the room. Now, you mentioned that that was moved, and that's the other big event in November for the tea world. So what is that event called, and can you tell me a little bit about what it is?
Okay, it is called Robiraki. Ro means a sunken hearth, and the sunken hearth is closed up during the summertime. And in November, it is opened, and the kettle is placed in the sunken hearth, either on an electric element, or you can use charcoal to heat the water. So it is the open, Robiraki means the opening of the row. It is the actual event that marks the new year, the new tea year.
November really is the tea new year, which we should celebrate every year with new matcha and by moving the row, the hearth, into the center of the tea room as opposed to being away from the guests where it would be too hot in the summer.
Yeah, the shape of the kettle changes. It's a little larger. You want to radiate as much warmth as possible, so the kama can be quite large. If you want people to enjoy this as a possible beverage, and on our website we have a list of sources, and Ooika will be, I think it's already on the list.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you very
But
much.
if it's not, it will be on the list because, you are going to be local. There are going to be a lot of people here in the metropolitan Philadelphia area, certainly, who will be able to visit your shop or order online from you. And that's good. They don't have to wait for a shipment to come from Japan.
Right. Home field advantage.
Right. Exactly.
Well, great. I'm so happy that you allowed me and everyone else to come watch you make some tea and also to learn about these very interesting events in the tea world that in the West we might not be so familiar with.
The other big event that we have comes in January, and that is the first tea of the calendar new year. And that is the big event of the year.
What is that event called?
It's called Hatsugama.
Hatsugama.
The first kettle. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Drew
Oh,
Sensei. I
I
appreciate
really
the time.
enjoy doing this for you. We have a website. It's njgreentea.com, and you can visit the website. There's a lot of information there, and you can submit inquiries for a demonstration, and I typically will get back to whoever inquires within a day to let you know what dates are available.
All right, thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to check the description below for relevant links, including links to Drew Sensei's website, where you can, again, book demonstrations and learn more about the world of the art of tea. And be sure to subscribe for more videos on both tea culture and also the production of fresh ground matcha in the United States with Ooika. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Thank you so much.
大イカです。